Hey there, welcome back to Beyond Adjustments, the podcast where we crack more than just spines. Actually, we don't crack spines at all. We just talk about them, but we're also cracking some jokes, maybe breaking some myths and probably bending a few expectations here. So I'm your host, Amin Saeed, your friendly neighborhood chiropractic enthusiast who firmly believes that the only thing better than an adjustment is an everything bagel with cream cheese from the Bagel Hole in Park Slope, Brooklyn. If you know, you know. Today, I'm stoked because we've got Dr. Jennifer Dour in the house, clinical director, wellness advocate, and someone who's probably way better at standing up straight than any of us. Dr. Dour has been transforming lives for nearly 2 decades by combining chiropractic care with exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot of heart. From prenatal care that helps moms-to-be feel more like warriors and less like waddlers, to pediatric care that keeps kids upright and thriving. She's done it all, and she makes it look easy. So grab your coffee, water, I don't know, kombucha, whatever makes you feel fancy. Sit back, relax. Unless you're standing, in which case, keep your knees slightly bent, engage your core, and let's jump into it. Cue the music. Dr. Jen, welcome to Beyond Adjustments. So excited that you are joining me here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I think this is a great discussion that we're going to have.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm so excited. I'm just going to jump right in here. I want to get into a little bit of your background, kind of why you do what you do. And so first question, I guess, that pops into my head is, so before you even discovered chiropractic care was even a thing, what really sparked that health and wellness, passion inside of you that made you jump into the career that you're in today?
In high school, I actually was I was an athlete. So I
Okay.
played a ton of soccer. I did played for club as well as high school. So I did that and I tore my ACL flat out. Like it was completely torn. Had to have reconstructive surgery when I was a sophomore in high school. I wobbled around in crutches and, throughout that time, my mom was seeing a chiropractor. So I was getting adjusted during that time. I felt relief with that. The surgery I recovered from was running, going back to actually starting to play soccer again, which is a long recovery back then because I'm old now. And it's still a decent recovery now. It is a pretty intensive surgery. But throughout my career of learning how to just exercise, eat well, and talk to my chiropractor about it, I started to get more interested in that type of science. I was always a science nerd, so that was my focus. I thought I was going to be a geneticist, and that really just turned because I like people and I don't like being in labs. And when you start to go to college and all you're doing is lab work in science classes, that's your extra class, you realize speakers are not people. So I really wanted to do something more transformative with people. So as I started to talk to my chiropractor, as well as take other classes about medicine and drugs, and realize that I didn't want to do medication. I wanted to find a more natural way. I liked nutrition. I was a big exercise person. I exercised. I was in the gym starting in middle school. My dad started bringing me to the gym to work out and funnel my energy that way. And I found that I was mentally more clear when I worked out.
Yeah.
And I just felt like overall a healthier human being. And really with that, I found chiropractic. I interned for my chiropractor and I started to see more miracles that I could really everyday miracles and things that people really enjoyed about chiropractic more than just back pain. And so that's where it took off. And then I went to Palmer down in Florida and finished my
Nice.
career down, my degree there.
Yeah. Yeah. Familiar with Palmer. A lot of chiropractors head that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, okay. So you did the exercise thing from a young kid. You said middle school, right? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny because I was actually discouraged to like hit the gym in middle school. Um, I don't remember why. I did do gym and things like that. I was a gymnast actually in high school.
Wow. That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I'm gonna do a backflip later in the show, but no, I'm not. No, I want to live to see tomorrow. But yeah, so you did the exercise thing. Kind of cool to hear how early this started for you. You ended up, you said, so before you hit Palmer, you were at where? You were at Rutgers, right?
Yeah. Rutgers, where my degree is in exercise science.
Okay.
So that would be the degree before a lot. Now they do 5 to 6 year physical therapy degrees. So my
Okay.
undergrad is basically formatted in physical therapy,
Okay.
kinesiology,
Right.
and the science behind that, and also the psychology behind it too,
Okay.
being an
Okay.
athlete.
Makes sense. Makes sense. By the way, I hate that I'm going to admit this to the public, but I actually went to Rutgers. But the reason why, so I went for 3 weeks.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've pretty much failed my way through high school. I was a terrible high school student. I ended up doing high school in like 2 years, night school, you name it, to make up for all the bad decisions. I did community college, but in community college, I picked my big boy pants up and did the right thing and got into Rutgers. You'd think, all right, he's whoo. No, 3 weeks in, man, I drop out like an idiot. And I'm like, anyway, I did fix that, a few years back. I ended up going back to school and whatnot, but Rutgers was awesome. I used to love going to the trucks and having a fat night and all those amazing sandwiches and whatnot. So
Yeah, the trucks are gone.
no.
Yeah, the trucks are gone. They now open that is now like a whole green space and field for students to like watch movies and stuff like that. They took the trucks. Most of the trucks now are on College Ave in the businesses that they always were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the trucks now during college day are lined up on the street going into the stadium.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't like go away.
They didn't
But
go
you're
away,
saying
go
that
away.
that spot is now, okay, repurposed.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
repurposed.
Not as sad. I almost cried a little there. I know they're the unhealthiest sandwiches you could ever eat, but
It's
but
definitely a heart attack sandwich.
oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. But so good. Okay. So let me just shift a little bit here. You spent quite a long time, 20 years, if not more, building a career that really blends what you've learned, right, from your physical therapy experience in Rutgers and, going to Palmer, right? So you have your adjustments, you have the exercise in your background, you have the nutrition. Like how has this kind of, I would say, holistic, because you're like, I don't like the medicine, which I love that, but how would you say this holistic approach really evolved over the years?
I'd say it's who you interact with and how you see they respond to more of a holistic approach so that they're able to be capable human beings. They take care of themselves, right? And a lot of people don't like to exercise, but once you get to really enjoy it, if you exercise and eat right, you just overall feel better. And to
Hmm.
be honest, I'll tell you the older population, I don't take care of a lot of patients in their golden years. I do take care of some, and most of them are very physically fit, active, and they don't take a lot of medication. It might
Hmm.
not be like a major side effect that we see, but patients that I see that are on lots of medication, I have to tell you, cognitively, I see a difference. And
Mm.
like when you start to see like a 92-year-old woman who hasn't been on a blood pressure medication, nothing,
Mm.
and she quick as a whip. And then you
Wow.
see somebody the same level, but not, they can't, they stumble. You're like, there's something there. I don't know if it's that you're not taking care of yourself to stay that way, or it's the side effects of some of these drugs underlying. but it doesn't overall take care of you well. If you're able
Yeah.
to put the right foods inside you and keep your blood, like I'm a big on get your blood work done, do your physicals, see what you're actually at so you know where you can build up. And having then chiropractic brings in that other connection. It is
Yeah.
mind to body, right?
Right. Right.
That is the key, the pivotal key that helps everything that most people think that chiropractic care does do. Back pain, neck pain, migraines, sinus infections, ear infections. I get kids that can crawl to be able to crawl. What's that connection? That is your
Wow.
brain connecting to your body and doing what it's supposed to do, what we were made to do, right?
Yeah.
And that's that key that we
Yeah.
have. I don't know if a lot of chiropractors really show you that key, that like that instrumental change, but like being able to see it. And we do a lot with like posture checks. Like you're saying, I can stand up better than most people. Um, but I take your picture on your first day you come into my office and I put like little lines up and we see how you're actually standing and how your actual head weight is, and then your physiological head weight. So what is perceived with physics. And like we
Oh.
see your head lose weight. And it's
Oh.
amazing because like you're like, oh
And
wait,
that's
I have less
it,
strain on my body.
is that because of like the way your head is going to be positioned? Obviously, it's not going to
Yes.
lose weight. Is okay.
Yeah. So it's the position because a lot of times we're carrying forward.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
go
Yeah. Yeah.
other ways. We'll do a little wiggle,
Yeah.
we'll go to the lean, but like that forward translation. And a
Yeah.
lot of people are translating right from their ankles straight out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
as you start doing that, of course you got neck pain, back pain, low back pain. Your
Yeah.
head's literally not screwed on right. With you telling me the way that you graduated high school, I'm sure you've heard a couple times from your parents.
Yeah.
Uh,
Couple times. Couple times. In another language too. At
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds better that way, though.
It does. It does. It's
Yes.
very eloquent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, so we get that brain to body connection. And when you start to really see those little miracles, you're like, yeah, I'm doing good things.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So I have these challenge questions that I
Mm-hmm.
ask all my chiropractors. And sometimes they're going to be hard for you to answer, but I want you to do your best. If you had to pinpoint one life experience that solidified your decision to become a chiropractor, what would that be?
So it would be working in a chiropractor's office. And it was actually a little kid with ear infections, chronic
Mm,
ear infections, and he was about to get tubes in his ears. And this was like the last resort. This was
mm,
it. And the thing about tubes, honestly, it's not that crazy to get done, but it's seeing your kid go under anesthesia. As a mom, like seeing your kid lifeless is probably the most terrifying thing.
yeah.
And like you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yes.
So the little boy started having care. He was like 4 years old, and started off having ear infections, started running and playing and also hearing a little bit better. And it was just like,
Wow.
this is just adjustments. No, it's not just adjustment. It
Yeah.
is, but it's the beauty of connecting that body. And it's
Yeah.
a simple upper cervical adjustment for a little kid. And it
Yeah.
does so much. And then you could see how much that helped the mom, the dad. And
Yeah.
you think about the family unit just
Hmm.
being happier and not worried about, oh, they're getting another cold. We know this is going to happen. We know they're going to be
Yeah.
in extreme pain
Yeah.
with fevers. And we stopped that loop. He stopped that loop, the chiropractor,
Right.
with his hands, not a
Right.
drug. And it was
Right.
just like, oh
That's
my
insane.
gosh, this is
Yeah.
insane. This is something we
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah. 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 My sister, she's 9 years younger than me. So growing up, I remember a lot of her childhood, and she actually had some like ton of ear infections, all that fun stuff. She had to have tubes actually put in. I remember my mom, but yeah. Anyway, so I get that. I get that, and the fact that there was a solution outside of surgery or even tubes is phenomenal. You know, I think about that. Like, if I actually knew about chiropractic care back in the day, how my life would be completely different. You said it's tough seeing your kid lifeless. I've experienced that. Dr. Jen. Like my first daughter, Emily, who's actually in heaven right now, born with trisomy 13. So she was probed and prodded, and I think back, I'm like, I wonder if, yes, she, still might have, she'll still have that, genetic disorder, but I wonder
Yeah.
if she was introduced to that chiropractic care, if anything would be different today, right? You think about these things. So this is
Yeah.
kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I want people to just wake up, because it's not, medicine is not the answer, at least not all the time. We can, like you said, you get the body, or I don't know if you said it this way, but this is how I heard it. You get the body to a place where it essentially does its job. You're getting it in its optimal position for it to do what it's designed to do by God. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
And I have to say, just to jump on this just a little bit more, because I have one other
yeah,
great story while in
yeah, I love it.
practice. It's really, and I'm a big proponent for kids getting adjusted. And I know that's
Mm-hmm,
like a big thing. Your kids get adjusted, but a lot of people are really worried. They're worried about
mm-hmm,
cracking backs. And honestly,
mm-hmm.
we don't crack backs. And I don't crack, you don't hear a pop or a crack when I'm adjusting a little kid. But I treat a lot of kids with CP or cerebral palsy type conditions. And I'm seeing them like before they can crawl. And I
Yeah,
had this one little girl, and
yeah.
she was almost like she would look up past you. She wouldn't
Oh,
even, she wasn't crawling. Her one side of her body was really stiff. You try to bring her in like a quadruped position, which is like hands and knees, which all little kids are supposed to be able to do. And she'd fall right out of it. She'd literally just and go down. And I work with PTs and OTs that treat these children too, care for them. And I started adjusting her. And then one day she smiled for the first time
aw.
ever.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop
And
it.
I was like, holy I turned on,
That's
her lights turned on.
crazy.
And I was
That's
like,
crazy.
that was like one of those things I was like, I like was like so excited. I was like to the parents, I was like, did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Oh man, I love that
So
so
that was
much.
one of those moments where you're like, yeah, I'm doing good work.
Yeah, you are. You're doing amazing work, Dr. Jen. I love what you guys do. Honestly, you mentioned cerebral palsy. I had Dr. Sean from Simi Valley on the show in December, or was it November? Um, and his son Trevor has CP, and he told his story, which blew my mind. And it was also upper cervical, all the stuff you do. But like when he was a child, he used to hold his bottle like this. I think it was his left side. I can't remember, but one of his hands were balled up,
Mhm.
and then he would just do this to his bottle. I don't know if you could see that on
Yes,
camera,
I can.
but
Yeah.
after his adjustment, I want to say it was after his first adjustment. I don't know. I'm not 100%, but in the car ride home, he was holding the bottle with the hand that was balled up in one hand.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a miracle, you tell me what is, because that blew my mind. So, those stories are always popping up, and I love that, because and people don't hear about them. They're just like literally thrown in the background. And the fact that we even discovered this is also really cool, right? Because somebody even took the time to say, okay, well, let's investigate. Now that we're here, I mean, look at the things that we can do, or that you can do with your hands. It's amazing, amazing. All right, I'm going to transition a little bit here. We're going to talk a little bit about your techniques, some of the services you specialize in, and name of your practice: Garden State Spinal Care, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I was reading up on your website, Webster Technique, active release technique, I'm sure there's like a bazillion more that I don't know about, but how do you determine kind of the mix of treatments, especially because you treat children? You can't, take some big gut guy like me to, go, you got to figure out other solutions and techniques. How do you determine what the right mix of treatments are for your patients, young and old?
Really, it depends on the age, and then it depends on their needs. So
Mm,
even a baby, if they don't have really good neck control, they're being adjusted differently. And little babies, a lot of times I'm adjusting them on my shoulder because I want them in their most comfortable position. That would be one of them. One of the big deals is that they have to be comfortable. The patient themselves has to be comfortable with me, but in the position they're in. And then it depends on what their diagnosis is, right? So I do a full exam, neurological as well as orthopedic, on every single patient that comes into my office. And then we look at their posture as well. So a collective type of finds and then trying to see what does best for them. I can adjust a person on TikTok like that. I could do that, but like my prenatal patients, they don't get that because it is not indicated. Their body is completely different at this time. And they're carrying a human inside them. And my biggest goal is keep that human inside them for the period of time. So that's a big deal. And so with that, I'm activating more of their parasympathetic nervous system. I'm staying in those regions within their spine because we are mapped out in a beautiful way that we can really hone into areas that are going to calm and relax the body. So we're really working on making sure that body's ready, relaxed, and open to letting that child grow as much as they want to, and allow the woman to also be pain-free as much as she humanly can be. Because just like you were saying, I don't want my patients coming in. I want them walking because walking's really important while you're pregnant. But then my little babies, they don't get cracked. There's no cracking. It's all done more with my pinkies than anything else sometimes. And then I'm doing a lot of cranial work on my babies as well as a lot of my adults. Cranial work works on a lot of mind to body connection, as well as it helps just relax people. So if somebody has anxiety or something like that, we can work on that and that'll calm them so they feel the most relaxed that they've felt like in days. It really depends. And then myofascial work has to do with looking at posture, looking at injuries and trying to break up tissue. Now, if they need a lot of tissue work, I'm referring them out to a massage therapist. I could do that. And I have so many great massage therapists in the area that I collaborate with so that they can really get into that tissue if it's really bad. And that especially the adults, we've messed ourselves up. And sometimes it needs more than just an adjustment. And then we'll do the exercise routines too with them. We have a gym and I work with a physical therapist. If they, especially with my postnatal and prenatal women, if they need pelvic floor therapy, I work with a pelvic floor therapist in my office, Deb Goldman. She's been at it for 40 years. She is like a guru. She was like the first class. She knows her stuff like nothing else. I'll refer to her because there's stuff that's outside my scope that she can really help them with so that they have a better life. They have a better life with their husband, or when they laugh and sneeze, they don't pee themselves. Because that's not normal.
Wait, what?
No, that's not normal.
Oh, okay.
So after you have a baby, if that's still happening.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you should
No,
go
I get
see one.
I get it.
Back in the day, our moms thought that was normal.
Right. So prenatal. I don't even know how you. I don't know how you get around. Yeah,
Pillows,
I
first
guess.
of all, pillows.
So share with me if you don't mind, because I know I've heard stories about, babies being breached and chiropractic care actually helping the baby getting back to the position it needs to be, especially if it's caught early enough to get the baby in position to be born. Do you have, or can you share a story where kind of this care made my opinion would be life-changing, really difference for a particular patient that you had?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times women who are coming in with breach position, they also have pain usually. Yeah. So there's some discomfort or dysfunction that we're seeing. And so what I'm really looking at how their body is functioning and how I can get them to optimal position and relief. And so that their body's really being able to take care of themselves. With that, the body unlocks
Mhm.
and then the baby's able to turn and get into the position that it needs to be in. So I never
Mhm.
treat the baby. But I've had patients that come in who just can't sleep, can barely get out of bed, and then have to function and work. And so
Yeah.
it comes to a point like, I got to take care of this, or I'm going to have to be out of work before I was planning on doing so. And like most Americans, we have a lot of set things that we need to get taken care of before we
Yeah.
have a baby. And that
Yeah.
includes saving up money. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I've had a woman who she was working on her feet. She was an ER nurse. So she was working
Oh,
12
wow.
hours a day. She was barely being able to walk. And if she was sitting behind the desk charting, she was also uncomfortable because she was having a lot of pressure onto her pelvis from her baby. So I ended up we got her treated. We're seeing her twice a week as point, and we were able to get her in less pain. She was able to sleep, therefore work and stand up. We also gave her tools to take care of herself. Most nurses do wear compression socks because they know they work, but we made sure she was wearing those, had better orthotics, better support in her feet. She was able to stand up correctly. Then the adjustments and working on exercise routines for her to get herself loosened up and ready for that day. Because
Mhm.
obviously, I'm not seeing her on the day that she's working 12 hours. I'm
Right.
seeing her in between.
Right.
So I'm helping her get ready for it. And then I'm helping her recover from those days.
Mhm.
And then through that, she woke up one night in the middle of the night and was like, oh my gosh, my baby turned. Because usually babies turn in the middle
Wow.
of the night. And
Okay.
when it happens, you feel it, what happened. Because it's not like just a little like this. It's like, it's a
Wow.
lot of movement and there's not a lot of space in there. Um,
Kind of like after
so
I eat Chinese food. Is that the same feeling?
yeah, but you're not hungry again in
Mm,
like 20 minutes.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes. Um, but
Sorry. I know they're bad. They're so bad, but they're in me. They come out. I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's all right. I have one of those that lives in my house too.
All right. So you're used to it. Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
But but yeah, and then being able to have that baby head down, it leads to its own other discomforts, like having to pee all the time.
Mm,
But actually sacral adjustments help lift a couple muscular parts of our pelvic floor and will help us sleep longer throughout the night without having to pee. So there's a
okay.
lot of really cool studies that have been proven that connects the adjustments, especially the sacral adjustments, to a lot of the things that I just spoke about, which is
Mm,
the most important thing. Is I don't even just preach these words, there's science behind it.
yeah. So a couple of things, you sparked some thoughts in my mind with some things that you said. So I love that you collaborate with, other professions, physical therapists, massage therapists, and so on. I mean, you do see common, interaction between chiropractic and massage therapy. But I love when I see chiropractors like yourself will say, there are things that are out of scope. There are things that, I can't help you with instead of just taking on a patient. To me, that's like borderline malpractice when a chiropractor says, yeah, come on in, I'll help you out. And then they're just coming in for routines, hoping that something will change. But the fact that you see when something is out of your arena and you need a supplement, you need something outside of what chiropractic care offers. I really do love that because you're providing your patients the best care possible that they need for their body. So we talked about prenatal, we talked about the different services that you offer, and we also touched on the fact that you collaborate with other professions like physical therapists and massage therapists and so on. So I'm sure a lot of people walk in through your door, walk out healed or walk out with a solution and so on. So I love that, Dr. Jen, really I do. But I do have one question about the younger kiddos that you deal with? 'Cause my kids get adjusted. My kids have scoliosis. My audience knows I talk about them all the time. Actually, I'm going to be interviewing them soon. Can't wait to do that. But so when you talk about the kiddos, babies and young children, these are the kind of stories I love hearing because we have our own miracle story in our house. But what's been one of your most memorable experiences working with your young patients?
I think a lot of times chiropractors really, or people who aren't chiropractors think about chiropractors and think musculoskeletal. It's really cool when we can see the immune system starting to respond.
Mm.
What's that connection? So when we work on the nervous system, we're working on not just the brain to body and the nervous system and how our arms and bodies move. We also are working on our endocrine system, and we're also working on our immune system. So all of those are interconnected, and it all is
Absolutely.
manipulated and worked on the brain. If I am able to give responses and stimuli up, ascending, so up into the brain, descending, it's not just going to affect how our body's feeling and what we're feeling in our arms and our legs, but we're also going to notice there's going to be changes in our immune system and our endocrine system, which will then you'll see other amazing things with little kids because they respond quicker than adults because we have less layers of garbage that we have put in. So they have a really great slate. And so we see things develop really quickly. So I've had kids come in with asthma. And I had this little boy, he was coming in and he was a football player. And the last thing he wanted to do was run off the field and grab his inhaler in between runs. And he was an exceptional football player. And this was really just detrimental to him mentally, physically, and his courage, like his entire
Sure.
ego, right? Especially we're talking about like a 7th grader. We started getting him adjusted, and after 2-3 months, no inhaler needed necessary at all. He was taken off of it.
Wow.
So we're talking about kids that little ones, like the little babies, I get to see them like with the ear infections. I do get to see with chronic like croup and other things like that. And we get to see them change and develop, and it's quick. But then to see a kid who's a bit older, this could affect his not his self-esteem.
Okay.
And this, my adjustment helped him feel like he could do defense and offense. He could do whatever he wanted to do. And he didn't need something sitting on the sidelines.
So cool.
God forbid he gets that attack, which can be scary.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, seeing that, that improvement and that self-worth that he had, it just doesn't affect him in sports, does affect him in his schoolwork.
100%. Love that. Love that. Great memory. Honestly, that's probably a really cool story. I actually love hearing those kind of sports connected stories.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm a guy, I don't know. But anyway, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. So I got a challenge question for you. If you could recommend one small habit that could drastically improve someone's spinal health, what would it be?
Stretching.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
stretches.
Moving on. Okay. Wow. Okay. Stretching. Why stretching?
Because I find that most people are so tight that the muscles are pulling on their spine in a way that no matter how I affect their brain and calm their nervous system and get that polyvagal theory going and everything like that, if they're just not taking care of themselves at home, it's hard for me to keep working on it. The tight hamstrings, the inability to have rotation. Like when you're walking, it's all on your spine and asking for your shoulders to do a lot more than it needs to. If we just have a 10-minute stretch routine, our life will feel so much better.
Okay.
Yeah. Stretching's huge.
I guess I'm going to be stretching today. All right. Good stuff. Actually, I used to stretch all the time. I had a routine back in the day where I would have to stretch for probably 20 minutes, just stretching before we did our thing. I could tell you that my body was way different back then. I felt better back then and so on. But yeah, I get it. Totally. I can see that. You know what? I am. I'm gonna incorporate that. I will. I'm gonna incorporate that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm also gonna start weightlifting again.
Oh,
Um,
I love weightlifting.
yeah,
Huge weightlifter. I love
yeah,
to lift
yeah.
weights.
I love weightlifting. I yeah. I just I need to be consistent. Like I can bench a decent amount, I can curl a decent amount, but I need to be consistent because I feel like if I am, my body would respond differently. Probably shed a few more pounds that I need to shed, but I say a few like they're five. It's not five, but anyway, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about kind of your family centric approach. Okay, you treat from so prenatal, right? Before they're even born, all the way up to our wise population, we'll call them.
Mm.
So how do you tailor your care to meet unique needs like for each group? I know you touched on it a little bit, but what I'm more you talked about how you adjust certain ages certain ways and so on. But can you kind of speak to the mental aspect of it? Because, a 5-year-old walking into your practice is not the same as a 50-year-old and is not the same as an 80-year-old mentally. Because they're bringing that to the table as well.
Yes.
So could you kind of speak to that a little bit? How you address that, how you tailor the care? Yeah.
Absolutely. A 5-year-old coming into my office, we have in our gym, we also have toys. I'm like probably the funnest doctor they go to because I have toys. We play. Um, their table also has a giraffe on it and it has texture to it. While some of my other tables are more plush, they go up and down. They're more tailored to adjusting an adult. Adjusting kids is completely different because it is on their terms. They will not sit like you want them to. And
Right.
if anyone's a parent, they know that. And so I have exercise balls. I've adjusted a kid on an exercise ball. I've adjusted a kid in my hands, holding them. I've adjusted them while they're playing house with little people. Everybody's different and it depends on what's going on. So I have kids
Mm,
also with ASD, with autism.
sure.
And so that's a spectrum. I have kids who are nonverbal. And so they're not going to just lay on, a lot of times, not all of them are going to lay on the ground and lay on a
Yeah.
bed or so we're doing what they want to do. We move around the way that they are. It's a completely different adjustment in that aspect. While an adult would just be like, all right, this hurts. All right, lay face down. Let's get you treated. I'm going to check your whole body. And then my protocol goes accordingly. My protocol is different in the aspect of I just have to tailor things to meet the child where they are so I get their
Mm,
needs met.
right. Do you ever have to like kid running past you have to like karate chop adjust or something? I'm just kidding. All right. I just saw that happening in my head, like some kid running past you, and you're like, oh, all right. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
apologize. They're
There's no
terrible. They're terrible.
there's
They're
no
so bad.
karate chopping a kid. I'm just gonna put that out there. There's no
This is why I am not the chiropractor, people. This is why I am on this side of the microphone. Okay, moving on. What's the most common misconception that your patients have? Like how, or I would even say, so kind of twofold this question. Common misconceptions that your patients have, and even those that you speak to outside of your practice, prospective patients.
Mhm.
Like, so what are the most common misconceptions they have, and how do you help change their perspective?
Okay. I'd say number one is, and I used to hear this a lot, is that once you start seeing a chiropractor, you'll always see a chiropractor. And I started seeing a dentist when I was little and I still
Yeah.
see one. Um,
Right.
yeah, I'm part of your health care. I'm not just
Yeah.
for a wham and bam, thank you, ma'am. It's a part of health care.
I never understood that.
This is not just one and done. So we are developing a care plan and I will see a patient usually more frequently at first and less frequently later.
Yeah.
And that's because their body's starting to adjust and incorporate what stimuli I've been giving it. for a period of time. And yeah, I see patients that I've seen that were like little toddlers. And now, because I've been in practice for a long time, they're in high school or in college.
Mm.
Because yeah, that's how long it happens. Or
Mm-hmm.
I had we were talking to somebody because I also own my business. So we're talking about Google AI and getting things. So when people have questions, they're actually getting them answered quicker.
Right.
And the person was like, so do you see patients for one condition and that's it? I was like, no, they'll come in and, hey, doc, this happened. So it's like having that education and that understanding that I'm part of this development of a long-term healthcare plan and actually be healthcare, not being, we're talking about wellness. We're not talking about you being sick and then you just seeing me for a pill, because that's not me.
Mm.
So I'd say that would be the biggest misconception. And then the other one is that I'd have to say by the general public is that I cause strokes. And we don't. There's a lot of studies behind that. There was a huge study recently that came out before the New York Times said that we cause strokes, and they should really go and research recent studies rather than old,
Yeah.
antiquated ones. But it actually took this huge meta analysis, which is like when it comes to research, this is like the top tier. And it went through all Medicare patients. Medicare patients, just because they're older, are more likely to have stroke. And they went and they divvied it up to Medicare patients that were actually not having chiropractic care and ones that were. Do you know the ones that were not having chiropractic care had a higher propensity of having stroke?
I believe it.
And then when they went to the ones that had chiropractic care and had strokes, they went down they weren't actually receiving chiropractic care during that period of time.
Mm.
And they found out that even the ones that were, it didn't happen
Mm.
because we're trained to be your holistic doctor, not just your back cracker. At least where I went to school,
Mm.
I take your blood pressure. I see how cognitively you're acting. I check your pupils.
Mm.
And guess what? I touch you, which a lot of doctors don't do. So we're
Mm.
seeing and taking all that information in to see how we treat every different patient. And if
Yeah.
something's going awry, you're not saying in my office. There's something that
Yeah.
needs to be done. Just like we're saying
Yeah.
refer out. You have to know when something is necessary for the patient for their overall health, because that's what our
Mm.
goal is.
One of the misconceptions you talked about was where they say, okay, once you see a chiropractor, you're always seeing a chiropractor. Like, okay, so you get sick and you go to your, pediatrician or your general medicine doctor. And it's like, you're always seeing your doctor. Like you're always, like you said, I saw a dentist when I was a kid, I'm still seeing my dentist. And so on. I don't understand that concept where it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to always see your chiropractor. Yeah. Because you always want to stay healthy and have your body in its most optimal state so that you can kind of take on the world. You know what I mean? Like this, it's that mindset just never really that didn't make sense to me. I was part of the group of people that thought chiropractic care paralyzed you. Just FYI. I did, honestly, I really did believe that, but I know that's a misconception as well, but
Yeah. I have patients who are like, so I know you adjust me in my neck and make me feel good, but could you also adjust me and purposely make me feel bad? I was like, actually, they don't teach us that. So
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah, could. Yeah.
no, not like that. I'm not, I forgot who's the karate guy that used to always go,
Oh, Van Damme.
yes, I'm saying,
Yeah,
I would never thought that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Knock me out, please. Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. What does it mean to you to be part of your patients' journeys, young and old?
That's the heart part. That's the part that I don't mean hard, like heart. I truly care about my patients. I really want them to achieve their goals. So we really talk about goal oriented care at times to make sure we're getting something that we want. I'm a patient who's just about to start training for a half marathon. So our goal is to make sure he gets his half marathon. He does better than his last half marathon, and his knees don't start bothering him in the middle of his training. Those are some really good goals. I like that we're like focused on something that's going to make us feel better. Or I want a kid who has a lot of behavioral or distractive behaviors in school and calming their nervous system so that they're not, their entire life and their family's life is actually calmer. Every
Yeah.
day is not a prime time. We all love
Mm.
our families and love our units, but if everything is just a little bit more on the same level and we're on the same level, I feel like that bond, that joy that we get,
Yeah.
I feel that. That's what I get out of it. I care a ton. And
I love
sometimes
that.
my own detriment, it's hard sometimes. You
I get
hear
that.
a lot of stories and I feel for my patients. I truly do. And I want to see them do better and get what they want and what they deserve.
Great answer. Dr. Jen, like, first of all, from the first conversation that you and I had, for those of you that don't know, I do meet with the chiropractors prior to our recording sessions. I saw that. I honestly saw your heart just from the initial conversation that you had. So I love that you're not just in it to, for business reasons. I've met with people that are in it for just business, unfortunately. And you can tell by their answers. You could tell by the way they respond to you. Everything is matter of fact. Now, I'm not saying those people aren't making a difference because they are, right? They're still applying the same techniques and so on. But when there's a heart connection, I think that also becomes part of the treatment.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like, so if I go to a chiropractor that doesn't really care about how my day went, or doesn't really care about how I'm feeling when it comes to, the pain, how is the pain affecting my mindset? I've been asked that question. Like, I've been asked questions about, how, so I, in late 2023, I had some issues, a ton of inflammation in my body, did a treatment with my chiropractor here in Fort Mill. And when we were talking, it wasn't just about, oh, we're going to, get you fixed and here's the plan. It was all connected. He actually cared about, what it was affecting, why it was affecting me. Right. So I think that becomes part of the treatment
Mhm.
because my mindset is huge. So I love that your heart is in it the way it is. So
Yeah.
thank you again. Thank you for what you do, Dr. Jen. You're making a huge difference, honestly. So I got a challenge question for you again. So if you had to give one piece of advice to families considering chiropractic care for the first time, whether it be for their child or for them, what would that piece of advice be?
Research your chiropractor. Make sure that
Mm,
they're actually treating kids. I do think that chiropractors who treat kids, we have more schooling for treating kids. I learned in chiropractic school how to treat a child, but the depth of knowledge that I have now with my credentialing and the school and the classes I've taken beyond chiropractic school is so much more in depth. You're even talking about a kid with their hand fists closed. I'm like, oh yeah, that's because their pulmonary reflex is hypertonic. And we're trying to bring it down to a normal level and not have it either flaccid, which is be completely weak, and just react the way it's supposed to at that age group. So
mm,
we know so much about the way the nervous system develops, especially with babies,
mm.
what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to react to just make little stimuli, like why your
Sure.
baby goes into their bed and you drop them down and they freak out. Like you're supposed to
Mm,
have that
yeah.
anywhere from 4 to 6 months of age, but then you're supposed to lose it. And if you don't, we're going to have other issues in the future with coordination of mind to body. And so the chiropractic care, as well as exercises, help integrate that into the system. And so
Mm,
having a chiropractor who really understands the pediatric population is critical, is key. And they'll
hmm.
have it on their website, but also you can ask
Yeah.
Facebook groups, mommy and daddy groups, they will tell you who
Yeah.
they go to and who they're really finding great, um, great results with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a chiropractic practice that I would say focuses on children on the pediatric side, I think it's going to be a different office. Yes, they treat the entire family, but when they're pediatric centric, it's different. They have different goals. They have a different mindset. Actually interviewed Dr. Josh Collingsworth last year as well. He's out in Virginia. Same thing. Like he's all about the kids. He treats the whole family, but the way he approaches kind of the neurological side of it, right? It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. So yeah, great answer, great advice. Definitely research your chiropractor. I think that's really really important. Unfortunately, they're not all the same. They
No.
have different specialties and different approaches. You need to find the one that's the right fit for your family.
Absolutely. Just like a doctor is sometimes not the best fit for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
chiropractors are the same exact thing. And
Yeah.
I've met
Yeah.
plenty of physicians and
Mm,
physical therapists that are not great. And I've
yeah.
met some amazing ones. So
Yeah.
don't think that you just met one and that's how you've met everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Jen. I want to shift gears a little bit here. This is the fun part for me, at least. I mean, this is where I geek out a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about the business and the marketing aspect of Garden State Spinal Care. So running a boutique practice like yours, it's more than just kind of the clinical expertise, which you have, obviously. So what motivated you to design, and I saw some pics, really cool. I actually, I want to, if I'm out in Jersey again, which I probably will be, my brother-in-law's still out there, but I want to check out your space.
Oh,
But it
come back.
literally looks like it looks like a spa, like,
It- It's,
no joke.
it's beautiful.
It's so nice,
We're in
so nice. But
we're in like a reclaimed church. It's
oh,
beautiful.
love it. That's so
Hmm.
cool. I see that draws me even more to your place. But what motivated you to like really design it that way? Like, how do you think I would say this even impacts your patient experience?
So a lot of it, it's to relax patients. I want
Mm,
people to be at ease. I feel like sometimes you go into an office. I don't like clutter. Clutter bothers my brain, but
don't look at my.
it's okay. No, at least it's neat. It's neat.
That's my
you
that's
know,
my wife. That's not my work
your
there.
wife
Just
did
saying.
some great work right there. But it calms your body. It relaxes your brain. I wanted the chairs in my off in my treatment rooms that are for adults. There's a chair in there, each one for a woman to be able to breastfeed. I wanted that ability to have peace and calmness and know that you're being taken care of in my office from the get-go. I treat again all families and I'll treat babies and then the moms. And you know what? Sometimes we're figuring out who's going first and who's in the best attitude, especially when it comes to little babies. And then afterwards, my staff might be taking care of a baby or a kid or playing with a kid, just so that the mom or the dad has that time to decompress. Like
Yeah.
they're just like you were saying with the brain and not feeling right.
Yeah.
Psychosomatic is true. Our brain controls everything. If we're in a
Yeah.
lot of pain, there's something that's going on in our brain also to make it
Right.
happen that way. It's not always
Right.
just what's in our back. And if I have a patient, especially a long-term patient that's coming in with extreme pain, after one or two visits, if it's still the same way, I'm like, what's going on? We need to like
Yeah.
really talk about this. And if it's out, then if we really need to talk to somebody, I have great psychologists that I'll refer out to for
I
different
love that so
needs,
much.
anywhere from trauma to postpartum depression is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it starts actually while you're pregnant. Postpartum anxiety is a big deal. Obviously, psychosis is extremely rare, but also extremely big deal.
Yeah.
And I see my patients more often than they see their other doctors. So I
Mm,
do take that into my responsibility to make sure their mental health and the way that they see my office and that I see them coming down and
Mm,
relaxing
mm.
is so important. And it starts with the way we see things. It really does. That is a
Yeah.
big part of like how we're perceiving.
It's all about mindset. Honestly,
Yeah.
I get that. Totally. Totally. Love that. So, so you have your experience in person, right? Actually, I have some training out there that talks about, um, just kind of that well thought out design of a practice from, when they're first greeted at the reception area all the way through. It's all important. It's
Hmm.
all important.
Yes.
So that's when they're there, right?
Hmm.
Now, what about when they're not there? So we rely on social media, right? That's my bread and butter. That's what I help chiropractors do with their social media, their brand marketing, their website, their blah blah blah, right? All that. That's the external that gets people to your door to get them on their healing journey.
Right.
So so social media, let's talk about that a little bit, is very powerful.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most powerful tools for reaching new patients, sharing educational content, hence why we're on this podcast.
Yeah.
So how has your presence on any of the platforms like, Instagram, for example, helped you connect with your community specifically?
Honestly, it helps me connect with my community and getting, uh, we all want new patients, but
Of
also
course.
with other providers. I've found some of the greatest provider connections locally on Instagram because we're both sharing, we're both young, and we're trying to connect with new patients and make sure that they're getting the best knowledge that they can. And then we get to look through their feeds and actually see what they're about, what they're educating, what they're talking about. And we know that we're on the same level, and that is
Mm,
huge. And then being able to reach out to my local community and making sure that I'm focusing right there, learning that part of Instagram is critical. It's really, if you're a new practice and you're not on Instagram or Facebook, you're really losing out on
oh
a
yeah.
ton.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh
the other
yeah.
thing is Google, having Google
Yeah.
reviews. Even like I was
Yep.
talking about before, we are partnering with a system to like do the AI questions.
Hmm.
And we're fine tuning that now.
Right.
And with that, I'm also having my staff who
Yeah.
I have a fantastic staff.
Yeah.
They're really great. They're my safes to
Yeah.
my practice.
Right.
Um, I have what questions do you want them to answer right away? If a patient's asking questions at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mm,
what questions do you want them to, what do you think they're going to ask? And then
yeah.
what do you want we need to make sure these answers are exactly what we're
Yeah.
going to say. And so that
Yeah.
they are getting those answers before they even make an appointment.
Yeah, yeah. One recommendation I would make for you is you could even create a Google form. It's free, where you post that on your social media and you post a link to it. And then you can have, either patients or prospective patients ask you questions. And then you can use those questions to kind of build out your back end and answer them so that your generative AI can actually learn from that and then answer those questions as well. It'd
Oh,
be
I
it'd be
like
a good way
that.
for you to yeah, it'd be a good way for you to build that out. It's the simple things. It's the free things that really help sometimes too. So
Yeah.
let's not discount them. So cool. You're on Instagram. I love that. Instagram's big. For me, for example, YouTube is huge. Again, it's all about what you do, the type of information that you get out there, and the channels that you.
Yeah.
So I can't stress enough. You know, Mr., Mrs., Ms., Miss Chiropractor cannot stress enough that you need social media in your life for many reasons. Two main ones is getting your prospective patients to come through your door, and then second, to actually educate your community.
We actually use YouTube more for patient education and exercise
Yeah,
routines
it's
because you
good.
get a longer format. And we'll cross them through, but a lot of my patients want to see the exercise routine, not just a paper handout.
Hmm.
They want to actually see it.
Of course.
And so that's where YouTube's great
Yeah,
because you have a
$100%.
little longer period of time where you can really
Yeah,
educate and
yeah,
go through routines with them.
yeah. Love that. Love that. So balancing a successful practice as yours with, supporting your family. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're a friend, you're a daughter, you're a lot of things. You're a business owner. it's going to come with its challenges, obviously.
Yes.
So how do you manage the demands of running a business, prioritizing your roles, plural, still ensuring that your patients are getting the right care, still ensuring your business is growing properly, et cetera. There's so many pieces, so many facets. How do you manage all that?
Carefully. So I think the biggest thing that I do is wake up early. That is my period of time to be alone, to
Hmm.
actually work on things for my daughter. So that's my daughter's time, like where I'm like
Yeah.
setting her up. So she's got her lunch, she's got her vitamins. I worked out, I walked my dog, and then I'm ready to be a mom when she wakes up.
Mm,
And then also I have to say, I have a great partner.
mm.
We balance each other out very well. And he is a very involved father. He has his own full-time job. Some people are like, what does your husband do? I'm like, he has a real job and he helps me out with my business and he's a
Yeah.
great dad. He does everything. And without him, I would.
That's going on the podcast, FYI. That little thumbs up. I love it.
So you're recording this. You want this for yourself? And without him, I don't think I'd be able to do everything that I need to do. We really, as like a team, work on our business. He does help me with some parts of it because honestly, I'm a chiropractor. Being a business owner is got its own issues. Doing all the technology, that's him.
Right.
He's able to know all that because that's his background.
Right.
And also being able to know that when we need time, we need our friend time. Like I need my moms, I need my tribe. And I don't get to do it as much as I think other people would, but that's okay. I consider my business another child. You have to feed it, you have to give it the right energy. And
I love that analogy. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, and I care deeply for my employees. I really,
Mm,
I am very I do a very long process of hiring people, but that's for a reason because we want the
sure.
people who really care about walking in the door and providing great care to people. We are a service industry still. I'm a doctor, but this is the service, and people are choosing to come into our office. And
Right.
so when they come in, I don't want anybody on their phone or feeling like they're giving them attitude or things like that. Leave all that stuff at the door. That is not
Yeah.
my problem. That's not their
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
That's something we deal with at home, and I don't take that stuff to work either.
Right.
I think being able to
Absolutely.
compartmentalize, but also being able to know when you need that time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. How do you manage the marketing aspect?
So Instagram videos, I do my own. I can't figure out any other way to get somebody else to do them because I'm a control freak. And I also am really specific on my information, my details. I do have somebody helping me out with my blogs, but I read all of my blogs.
Sure.
I don't let anything get published without my consent because I think there's a lot of chiropractors that say things that I don't agree with.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm not curing anything. I'm just helping the body. And
Of
it's
course.
really, you really have to be specific on how you're doing that. So
S-
there has to be some control over the that part. But I do employ other outside companies to help us with our advertising, our Google
mhm,
AdWords,
mm,
and just trying to hit all those metrics.
mhm.
And it's changing and developing, right? Just like we're
Of
saying,
course.
Instagram is so much more important than it used to be. And it depends on your demographic of what you're trying to hit. So
Yeah.
I do more Instagram than I do Facebook because my population's
Is the
younger
younger.
people under the age of 40,
Right.
and that's where they are.
Yeah.
And YouTube,
100%.
definitely they're on YouTube, just like you're
Hmm.
hitting, but I do some YouTube, but Instagram's my meat and potatoes.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I don't think there is a way for you to outsource your Instagram videos. So you
You
can some of them, but for the most part, your face needs to be all over Instagram because when so I've seen practices actually outsource their videos where, some other person is actually doing these videos and then when the patient walks in the door, they're like, where's the guy I saw or the gal I saw on Instagram. So it doesn't make sense. Even if you write the content, the chiropractor should be the face
Yeah.
of the content that you put out there. So I think it's big. All right, challenge question for you, Dr. Jen. If you could share one tip with other healthcare professionals in the chiropractic community specifically for, balancing their work, being there for their family, patient care, of course. What is that one thing that they should keep in the back of their mind?
Um, that they need to figure out a good, uh, it's hard to find balance,
Mm,
but knowing that if you need a little extra time, that it's important. I think I've been in practice for 18 years. I've owned my own
wow.
practice for 7.5 years. And owning your own practice is just like I said, is like a child. It is hard to let go. It's hard to take off. And knowing when it's time to just cut hours or move things around so that you have your time to be a mom or take care of your house. Um, I think that's critical. And then outsource as much as you humanly can. So I have someone clean my house. I have someone do my laundry. I don't have time for that because I want to mom. I want
Yeah.
to be with my child. I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. I can't do that
Okay.
and own my own business without doing a little bit of outsourcing. So to know that your mental time is really important.
Yeah. That's good. That's great advice. That's great advice. So if we're not looking towards the future, right? And if we're not using our past experiences to kind of help us build our future, we're doing something wrong. So, but I feel like the holistic chiropractic care is one of the few that are really starting to amp up kind of that mentality. Because I'm starting to see more and more things be introduced into chiropractic care, laser therapy, et cetera, so on, all these things. So it's really growing fast.
Mhm.
Do you know of any new advancements, trends, maybe not specifically technology that maybe you're excited about? Maybe it's prenatal, pediatric, whatever. Is there anything that you can think of?
It depends on your state. So this is more state oriented.
Yeah, sure.
So in our state, we have had, when I started practice 18 years ago, when I started in practice, we weren't even allowed to talk about nutrition.
Mm,
And luckily now we have a great state association. It's one of the most powerful ones in the country actually now. They've
wow.
built it up and it's doing fantastic stuff for us as chiropractors because unfortunately we have to battle insurance companies and other things a lot. Um, but we can now talk about nutrition. And that is a huge proponent. I don't think it's new, but I do think it's a critical piece to what care we give our patients. Um, our normal doctors don't know a lot about nutrition, and we're taught a lot more in chiropractic school about the physiological changes that happen if we're eating well and what we can do to add to our systems to make our bodies more optimal. I
Mhm,
have kids on fish oil. We have also protocols for the cold season to
mhm,
help people stay healthy. And it's like
mhm.
fairly basic things. Vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc are huge, but taking them more consistently during
Mm,
this time. And also
yeah.
finding research, especially for kids, that is non-drug related that could help them through this cold season because it's really bad up in New Jersey right now. I don't know by
Mm,
you, but we have flu A, flu B, the stomach virus, rotavirus, strep throat, and just a regular sinus infection. All of them are happening all at the same time, and they're ebbing
that's
and flowing
crazy.
right now. And it's if and like my family, we got through most of it already. I'm gonna knock on wood by taking just normal vitamins. And
Yeah.
then if you feel your flu or cold coming on, this is a new study that just came out, which is really cool. Saline solution up your nose actually does tons of things.
Mm,
And it's really they did it on for pediatrics because for kids, you can't do a lot for them. But they found that it can decrease the length of your cold by about 2 days
okay.
and it helps flush the virus out of your nose, so you're less likely to get the rest of your family sick.
Oh, wow. So is it using like that neti pod
The
thing?
neti pot, or for the little kids, it's like there's like this thing called I'm gonna use a name because this is what I know they have the right nozzle. It's called
Yeah.
Little Remedies. It's
Okay.
got a smaller nasal passage thing, so you're not going to accidentally hurt your child by doing it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and it's aerated. It's just gas press. So you're just going to, it's going to come up and come down,
Come down.
and it gets them to blow their nose, but really it's
Sure.
helping flush out their system. I always used it with my daughter when she was little,
Yeah.
and it's great to see that there's actually research behind it. But 2 days is a huge thing. And also not
Oh yeah.
getting your parents sick is awesome too.
That's even bigger. Yeah. 1,000%. Yeah, we're big on that too. We don't do the medicine thing in my house. My wife's okay. I say we. I just follow her or lead when it comes. But yeah, we're all about the vitamins, the natural. She's big on organic, etc. So that
Yeah,
that really does make a
it
difference.
does.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So okay, we talked about the techniques, right? Kinesiology, you mentioned that, taping, ART, you talked about that. That's
Mhm.
part of your kind of arsenal. I think what sets you apart from other practices is your heart, not just the technologies you use. That's just I'm seeing that more and more. But that aside, for now, these technologies that you're using, these methods that you're implementing, how do you see them evolving, right? Because we're talking about the future here, right? So how do you see those evolving, if at all, to really improve patient outcomes in the next, I don't know, 10 years?
So in the next 10 years, I don't know where our healthcare system is going to be exactly when it comes to insurance. I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to change. I don't know if it's going to be more of a boutique thing for chiropractors where a lot of insurance and companies might not even cover us anymore. I don't know. I really
Mm,
don't. It's the thing that I think is evolving is that patients and people are noticing that they want to be well and they want to be healthy in their later years. And that
mm,
starts when we're young. And it's the basic stuff. So it's not technology. I think it's actually just we're talking about taking care of yourself, knowing that exercise, good nutrition, and then bringing in like a chiropractor into that base level can really help all these horrible chronic underlying diseases that we want to avoid.
mm,
As we are getting more and more into our aging population, we want to be mentally with it and we want to enjoy our retirement.
mm.
Um, the things like ART and kinesiotape, what I'm doing is I'm helping the body take care of itself to prevent
Yeah,
further injuries and hopefully prevent surgeries because we don't
yeah,
want to recover from those and they're just hard to recover from. If we need a
yeah,
surgery, we need
100%.
it, and that's what we have to do. But
Right.
if we're just able to open the body and get it in the right position, and that's what we do with taping. It's like natural bracing and getting a body to go into the right range of motion and the right position so then it's able to take care of itself. And I think really it comes down to getting a better body, a better system, and knowing that just because our parents had high blood pressure or IBS or this, that is not our sentence. That's our genetic code that we can
Mhm,
open up. We can envelop it by what
mhm.
we're doing. But if we're able to take care of ourselves, and
Yeah,
that is not technology, that's just
yeah,
knowing I need more vitamin D. My blood levels told me that. And then I do that, then helps my immune system and helps my mental mood.
right.
So
So
it's really these like little things of like actually taking care of ourselves and not letting it get to the end where you're looking at yourself and you're like, I have diabetes. I'm about to lose a limb or something like that. But now I just started eating better. We can't undo everything.
yeah,
We have to start when we're younger and we have to start when our kids' ages. Like our kids now,
mhm,
I'm telling you, my kid eats better than I ever did. She takes
yeah,
vitamins. I didn't take vitamins. I
I
drink
know.
water. Oliver, I didn't drink water. I
Yeah.
always joke, like, our kids always have water bottles. Did we ever
Yeah.
have a water bottle when we were children? We had these dirty water fountains.
No.
They don't even allow anybody to drink out of it
We had
anymore.
the quarter drinks that were literally 99% sugar. That's what we drank. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's people can, oh, rabbit food, stuff like that. No, that's real food. The stuff
Yeah.
in the middle of our
Yeah.
grocery store, most of that
Yeah.
is not real food and it's
Yeah.
synthetic. But knowing what you have to educate yourself on what, like you're talking about organic food. Yes, organic food's good. But I use this thing with my daughter called the Yuka app, YUKA. You actually can scan any food inside the grocery store and it'll say good, bad, or like middle, and it'll give you a rating and it'll explain to you why. The
Mm,
preservatives, the colors, the additives, what's in there. And if it's really not that great, it'll actually give you like a couple different options, which would be better
mm, mm,
because our kids are advertised to a lot with the
mm.
garbage cereals that are filled with glycophosphates that destroy their gut, that destroy their immune system before they're even starting. And it's
Yeah.
horrible because they didn't know any better. And we didn't know any better. Neither did our
Right.
parents, but now we do.
Right.
So now we have
Yeah.
to get this research out. And then I use that Yuka app so that my daughter can show me the Blue's Clues or the Bluey fruit roll up that she wants. That's garbage. And we scan it and we look at it and we see what's in there. And I'm like, but there's this other brand. And we scan that and you see how much better it is and actually has vegetables and fruit in it because unfortunately they are trying to change. I think they are trying to change legislation to not let corporations just feed us garbage. But unfortunately, we have a lot of additives that are not good for our brains or our
Very
guts.
true.
And I think it's
Very
the
true.
education really of knowing that. I think
Yeah.
and then the adjustments actually are better because your body's
Mm-hmm.
holding it because we have less garbage in our
Mm-hmm.
body. And I think that's where we're trending is trying to get a better baseline health. Even our blood labs are being pooled by people that are healthy. It's a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of us are very sick underlining, and we need to start taking care of ourselves a little bit better
Yeah. Yeah.
because our government won't. I'm so
Yeah.
frustrated. It's
Yeah.
you. It's your
Yeah.
responsibility as an American. Unfortunately, the way that our
Yeah.
systems are set up, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself.
Agreed. Agreed. 10,000% agree. And I think if we can get our population to look at sugar differently,
Hmm.
I think just that one thing alone would make a huge impact.
Oh, yeah.
Um, because I don't think the majority of the population realizes one, how it's used, two, what it does to the body, three, what it's in, right? They buy these things that they think are healthy, but read the label, people. Someone once told me that if you can't understand the ingredients of what you're buying, you shouldn't be buying it.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's huge. That's huge. So I got a challenge question for you. If, resources, time weren't an issue, what's a dream project you could undertake to really advance chiropractic care?
Um, I, I would definitely be more involved in the research perspective just to get more information out there.
Mm,
There's a lot of things that chiropractors, we've been around since 1898. So that was the first time an adjustment was actually
yep.
performed, way before penicillin was actually discovered. And through that time, we've seen amazing things happen. Like the first chiropractic adjustment was a deaf, somebody who could not hear. He was deaf. He was
Mm-hmm.
a janitor. And the first adjustment, he actually could hear. So
Mm-hmm.
we saw, and in that period of time, Palmer saw that things were could actually do some great things with adjustments. And I think through that time, we've gone away from that. I think
Mm,
bringing that back and understanding what we can do to provide better healthcare to our patients would be really important and stop fighting the medical and stop having MDs fight us because I don't think we need to fight because I'm not trying to do the same thing they're trying to do.
Right. Right.
And I think, unfortunately, I have some really great doctors that I work with, but I've heard some really horrible things too, comments, and it's unfortunately
Yeah.
misnomers. And
Yeah.
to get that research out there that we're doing good work, especially for kids and especially for pregnant women. I know so many that don't know that we're here for them and that there's specific chiropractors that really do treat kids and pregnant population and postnatal population that can really benefit their overall life recovery
Hmm.
and get them better family units. So I think really it's the research behind it. Anywhere
That's good.
from like pain to like the kiddos that I was talking about, kids with like autism or with cerebral palsy. If I had more time, that's where I'd dig into.
Yeah. If you do that, spend a little time on spinal injury too. I hear there's a lot to be researched there that we don't know
Yeah.
about. So yeah, do that for me and then get back to me. So nearly 2 decades in chiropractic care. 2 decades.
Yes.
That's insane.
I felt
What's been the most rewarding part of your journey?
honestly, I really enjoy owning my own business. I love being my own boss. Yeah. I didn't think I would. I was an associate for a very long time. I didn't think I
Hmm.
could have my own family and balance own being a chiropractor, owning my own business, as well as like having a family life. And it's possible. I
Yeah.
think it's really important for female chiropractors to come out because we're about this. There's about half of us are females that you're seeing, but for the most part, men own because I don't think women think that they are capable enough to do everything. And they are.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
have to say, I've talked to other business owners that are women. Once you're a mom, you can do so much.
Oh yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
are, we manage so much in a day in our
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
household that
Yeah.
like managing a business is actually, it's just another piece to the pie. I think, yeah. And honestly, giving back to not only my patients, but my employees. I truly care for them. I
Mm.
want to see them develop. I want to see them grow and seeing that actually start to take flight has been really, it really fills my cup.
Love that. What's a key message you hope every patient that, you know, walks through your door takes away from their experience at Garden State Spinal Care?
That is not just pain that we're taking care of. We're taking care of
Mm.
the whole body from like your brain, your body, how you're walking, how you live your daily life is really important to us. The
Hmm.
pain is probably the thing that brought you through the door. But when you leave, you know that's not why you're coming back.
Love that. So then looking ahead, what are your biggest aspirations, I would say, for your practice, your patients?
So right now I'm in the middle of finishing up my one of my front desks. Now she's going to be an assistant that's licensed by the state. We're going through that. So she's going to be like my second set of hands. So then we can finally be able to hire another associate. We had one for a while, and now we need another one so that we can get a bit busier and treat more patients. But it's always specific onto who exactly I'm going to hire. So that will be a process. And then
Sure.
hopefully, expanding a bit. We want to expand
Hmm.
to the point where we're able to be in different parts of New Jersey so that we can really
Hmm.
provide the quality healthcare that I think patients deserve.
Yeah. Love that. I gotta say this. So I love your aspirations. I love your vision. I love that you want to expand. I talk to some people that are scared to do that. They're afraid to expand. They're afraid to grow. But there's ways of doing it, right?
Mhm.
If you feel like you have something that you can bring to the community that's going to make that community a healthier community, don't be afraid to bring it forward. You have people like myself that will partner with you that will help you grow your business, right? And well, I don't just work with anybody, just like you don't, deal with, every profession around you. You pick and choose who the right people are. It's the same thing. Like you can find a partner, somebody that literally shares your heart to help you grow your business. So don't be afraid. I'm speaking to the up and coming chiropractors. I'm speaking to those with a practice that, like Dr. Jen, you've been in practice for a few years, but you just heard her. Like she's thinking ahead. She's the one of her hires who was at the front desk is now licensed to be her second set of hands. Like these are the things you need to be thinking about to grow your practice. And the reason why I'm like, really getting passionate about this is because I don't want you to be stagnant. I don't want you to sit back and just, okay, I'm getting 20 patients a month. I'm paying the bills. That should not be your mindset. Your mindset should be, how many patients can I reach? I mean, part of my product is I guarantee you 90 people walk through your, or 90 leads walk through your practice in 3 months. Like, or you're not going to pay a dime until I deliver. Like, you need to find companies like that with that heart to help you grow your business. Don't be afraid of taking that step. Really, really get yourself out there and start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Maybe it's not hiring another associate. Maybe you're not ready for that. Maybe it's taking the step of, having what is it, a technician, Dr. Jen?
It's an
What is
assistant. It's
just an
a
assistant?
chiropractic assistant.
Yeah.
In our
So
state, it's licensed, so it's specific. They have to take classes in school. She learns anatomy. It's great. Because exactly. So it's a good stepping stone.
yeah,
I would say to other chiropractors, because
yeah,
paying another chiropractor, you're paying them a good salary, and you want to pay them a
of
good salary,
course.
and you also want
Yeah.
to pay a good salary, so you want to attract the best of the best. I don't
Hmm.
want. I want somebody who wants to treat kids and learn. So with that, I need to attract. We have 401k. We give a healthcare stipend. When you're a business owner, these are the things, if you're an employee, you're looking for. I want something that's building me and looking for education
Yeah.
stipends. Those are
Yeah.
important because
Yeah.
honestly, an educated doctor is what I want.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Take that advice, guys. Seriously. We need you guys to grow your practices. We need a healthier America, honestly. And I think it starts with those that can make the difference, that want to grow themselves, grow their practice, grow their footprint within their community, and not just join another franchise. I'm sorry to say it that way, but really to, maybe there are franchises out there that do allow you to, teach the right things, but I'm just saying it in the sense that don't just look for another cookie cutter situation. Really bring your experience to the table and get yourself out there and make a difference in the community. That's what you should be doing. So, Dr. Jen, this has been amazing. Our time together has been just unbelievable. Can you just kind of tell our listeners, for those that are around your area, how they can reach you, how they can find you?
So I'm in Montclair, New Jersey. Our office practice is called Garden State Spinal Care. You can find me on Instagram at GS Spinal, as well as on Facebook, Garden State Spinal Care. And then you could always just give us a phone call or text us. Phone call, our phone number is 973-705-7010.
Excellent. Excellent. I'll have all that information in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this, guys. So, all right. Challenge question for you. If you could leave our listeners with one simple piece of advice for prioritizing their health, their wellness, what would it be?
I would say get up, and if you're not in pain, I think activity is very important. So it doesn't matter. You have to start somewhere. So it could be anywhere from getting a sit to standing desk and start standing more periods of time. Also getting up and walking during lunch. Um,
Mm,
that's really, truly important because once you start seeing a chiropractor, we're going to talk about movement and exercise and as well as nutrition. But I think they say sitting is the new smoking, and it's true. So we need to get out there. We need to move. We need to be a good example for the kids below us, and show them that I'm in my 40s and I don't feel like I'm in the 40s that my parents were in.
mm, mm. All right, folks, that's another episode of Beyond Adjustments in the books. A huge, huge shout out to Dr. Jen for not only sharing her incredible expertise, but Also reminding us that chiropractic care isn't just about getting your back cracked. It's about living your best, healthiest life. And hey, if you've been slouching during this whole episode, I think I was a little bit too, but I caught myself. Consider this your friendly reminder to sit up straight. If you had a good time with us today, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't take much. Leave a review. Tell us what you think. Or tell your buddy who claims chiropractic care is just for old people. Well, because we both know they'll need an adjustment soon enough. Until next time, keep smiling, stay aligned, and remember, life is all about balance, especially when it comes to your spine. I'll catch you later. Cue the music.